as always, sometimes we go over, So no,
Mm-hmm.
this is our time just for me and you
Yes. All right. Good deal.
and our friends.
Perfect.
So we forgot to mention though when we were on the first hour that we finally hit 1K on TikTok.
Yes, we
That's
did.
very exciting. And like we were there once before, and then I think like the algorithm just, if you don't post, like people just kind of start falling off. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if people are canceling or I don't know, but last time we were just barely over 1,000. The last time I looked, we were like at 1,050. So like we're for real over 1,000 this time. So shout out to us, shout out to y'all.
Yes, love it, love it, love it.
Yeah,
Yeah, like I said, I just feel like, yeah, that last episode with Davin was
it was so
great.
good.
So good. I feel like really anybody that we've had on as a guest, I've always enjoyed those
Mhm.
conversations. And not that I don't enjoy when it's just you and I.
Mhm.
Um, but last episode I really enjoyed because like I said, I'd been following Davin for quite a while. So just goes to show, like, just be brave. Like, I literally just hopped in um her live and was like, I would love to have you on the show. Like, and she was like,
Mhm.
yeah, DM me.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Yes. So that was
She is just such a
awesome.
treasure. I adore her.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love
In
to
fact,
do more.
I saw right before we hopped on the first time, I saw a video where she was kind of crying and she was talking about how she had gone to this theater and basically this woman had just ignored her. And I don't know where she lives, but I kind of want to go and like fight that lady because
Right. I think she's in Arizona.
oh yeah, she did say that. She did say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and she did look pretty. She looked so pretty.
She
And I just
did.
yeah.
She's so cute. I think she should do. Have you seen that trend on TikTok? Like, who's a cutie patootie?
I have not seen that.
I think she should
Uh,
do it.
I'm gonna look it up though and use that as a sound on my business page.
Yes, yes. It's a cute little
Yes,
trend because they
I
are
like it.
all just little cutie patooties.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So yay.
Mm.
Let's see. Taj says, "Oh, I love asking people to talk or share. It was an invaluable skill I learned when I worked at my university's newspaper. Cold calling can be so powerful. The worst anyone can say is no." And that's so true. And
Mm-hmm.
that's actually how Kaj ended up on too, is like, I think I don't know if she messaged me first or I don't remember exactly what happened. Or maybe she commented on something we had posted. And then I just hopped in her DM and was like, "Hey, girl." And I told her I really want to interview her on therapy sessions too, because she's a hairstylist. But just the little snippets that we got, like when she came on as a guest with us, and then also, she comments pretty consistently on here. And like the
Mm-hmm.
little snippets are just like, she's so interesting. So I told her I still want to interview her for therapy sessions, but life has just been kicking my ass all year. Everyone's ass. It's not just me. And so yeah, we haven't scheduled that yet, but her life is pretty fascinating. So
Yes, I think that would be a great interview too.
for therapy sessions, yeah,
Yes, yeah,
I agree. So I
yes.
haven't forgotten Kaj. It's just been lifing, girl. And I know you said same thing on your end. So I haven't forgotten though. I get like a little once a month, I get a reminder on my calendar, like reach out so y'all can do this. So yeah.
Yeah, and I feel bad because I wanted to meet up with her last Monday, because she was gonna show me how to do some of her techniques, and or I
Mm,
was just gonna
hmm.
see, like, how she runs her business and stuff. And
Yeah.
but the day before, I worked the For the Culture, and we got fucking rained out. And when I tell you, I was soaking from head to toe. It was
Yeah.
horrible. And I just felt like the next day, because I stayed and like helped. And I felt like I was dragging like an extra 30 pounds because I was just like
Wet.
soaking wet.
Yeah. And water is heavy.
It's so heavy. Well, and you know, I will say too, it was like, I thought it was a little cleansing for me personally to like be stuck in the rain with like all these beautiful black and brown people who came together to put on this event. But I also was not personally affected by the tornadoes that we've had. So once I found out like there were people traumatized, I was like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, that was scary because people's tents got destroyed. Some people's items were destroyed in this storm because it kind of came out of nowhere. Because I will say, when I looked on my weather app that morning, I did not see any chance of rain. And then I guess like later on, it slowly crept up. And I mean, it was a monsoon.
Wow. Wow. Thank you for doing that work, though. Has there been any improvement from the mayor and like in terms of outreach and getting people who lost their homes into someplace livable? Like, has there been any improvement there?
It doesn't sound like it. I will say I haven't really been keeping too much up with what's going on. To my knowledge, no. And FEMA was at the event that I was at. Which, how like ironic. um FEMA was there. So
Oh,
I would hope that some people, you know, before the storm hit, if they were impacted, could get in touch with FEMA. But I mean, our
yeah,
government cut the funding. Josh Hawley, you know, ugh,
yeah,
that guy. Hate him.
yeah.
And you know what? I'm so annoyed because him, Eric Schmidt, and Wesley Bell have all been in my emails. We'd love to hear from you. No, you wouldn't. Because I tag you guys and you ignore me. And Wesley, you blocked me because I called you a fascist. Fuck you.
I was just gonna
Like,
ask. I thought you had gotten blocked by at least one of
yeah. Like, are you kidding me?
them.
And now you want to hear from me? I don't think
Yeah.
so.
I feel like you should respond and be like, if you wanted to hear from me, you wouldn't have blocked me on Facebook.
Right, unblock me. Now I will say he like blocked me on his personal page because I think it's illegal for him to do it on like his professional page.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
still,
Yeah. Yeah. So are you tagging his professional page now?
I think I tried. I think it's been a minute since I probably haven't tried since he because Emma was the one who pointed, because I was like, oh, he untagged himself. I was like, that's so lame. And Emma was like, did he untag himself or did he block you? And I was like, no. And I tried to look him up and I was like, he did. I was like, what a loser.
Good times. Good times. So, in the spirit of storms and FEMA having a terrible response, you know, we're coming up on the anniversary. Is it 20 years of Katrina? What year was that?
2005, I thought.
I don't know how old you were when that happened, but
Yeah, August 29th, 2005.
okay, 23rd. Oh no. Well, that's weird. I'm getting two different dates. So I guess it started on August 23rd, which is my son's birthday, but it made landfall on the 29th. Interesting. Um, there's still hundreds of people considered missing. How old were you in 2005? Curious.
I was in the 5th grade.
Wow. So whatever that is, like what, 10,
10, 10,
11?
11.
We're just a baby. I was very definitely a grown up. I was already married for sure. I just distinctly remember I was watching during the where they were doing like the fundraiser for Katrina, and Kanye hopped on screen and was like, George Bush doesn't like black people. I was literally watching that when it happened. That was when that was when Kanye, we loved him and didn't realize that that was not him speaking up for black people, which is how I interpreted it at the time, but probably like a precursor to his narcissism and like self-importance. In hindsight, I'm realizing now. But at that time, it was just like he had the audacity to say what everybody was already thinking.
Hmm.
Have you watched any of the documentaries?
I want to watch that one on Hulu. I've like read articles and I've seen like clips because I think my sister watched it, and I kind of was telling her, I was like, well, did they talk about how white people in the suburbs were shooting at people because they thought that they were going to be looting their neighborhoods as they were fleeing from a
Cops
fucking
were shooting
hurricane?
people.
Yes.
Cops were
Mhm.
rounding people up and shooting them.
Mhm. Or, are they talking about how some of the prisoners were left behind and patients in the hospitals? And
Mhm.
then I just started to get mad because then I started thinking about like the LA fires and how that one dad stayed behind because his son was disabled and like he couldn't move him, so he just died with him. And it just made me upset because it's like, why isn't there anything in place to help people like that? And we talked about how, I'm spacing on his name, but he was the creator, I think, of 4chan, Brendan something.
Mhm.
And he is disabled. He's wheelchair bound. Um, and I want to say like his bones are like super fragile, and he was
Mhm.
essentially like left to freeze to death in New York, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah, because the bus couldn't put his wheelchair on the bus, and then the infrastructure of the roads and the sidewalks, his wheelchair got stuck.
That's not accessible.
Yeah,
Wow.
and it's just like, and you're telling me no one saw him and couldn't
Wow.
help.
Wow.
And
There is a documentary called When the Levees Broke,
mm-hmm.
and it's done by
Spike
she
Lee,
was a
right?
no. So maybe I'm thinking of a different one because Spike Lee did do one. So maybe that's Spike Lee. There's a documentary on Katrina that's done by a young black woman who was a resident of New Orleans at the time. She lived at home with her parents still, or at least her mom, but they couldn't afford to leave. So they stayed home, and she just was like recording footage every day, multiple times a day. So it's like footage of her like talking to people in her neighborhood. It's footage of her like in the house as the water is rising. And they ended up, I want to say, in the crawl space. And I almost want to say ended up having to like cut a hole through the roof or like to get onto the roof because it's so good. I thought it was called When the Levees Broke, but maybe I'm mistaken. I'll
That's
look it up.
terrifying.
But if you were gonna watch one, that one and the Spike Lee one both, I definitely recommend because they do. First of all, you're seeing it from like an actual resident's point of view.
Was she a white
So
woman?
No, it was a black woman. Yeah, it was a black woman.
Mm.
I'm gonna look it up and tell you right now. So, and Spike Lee also did touch on that as well, on like how the military was not, like, they were deployed, but they were not being helpful. Like, not touched on it. Like, you see footage of people going like to the military that are guarding. I don't even remember what they were guarding because it's been years since I watched it, but um yeah, you're seeing like a point of view from someone who's on the ground, like in that space in that moment. Is When the Levees Broke, is that Spike Lee? I'm gonna look that. Yeah, so that is the Spike Lee one. Definitely do recommend that one. But the one that the girl did was so fire because it was just so real. Like, you're literally in the house with her as the water is rising. And then to think that they, the residents say that they blew up those levees.
I have heard that because people say that they heard an explosion, right?
Multiple explosions,
Hmm.
which, I think some people are just saying like the levees breaking, but that wouldn't be the first time that they intentionally flooded New Orleans.
Well,
So,
and not to be too conspiracy, but
mhm,
people also heard explosions coming from the basement in the World Trade Center.
mhm, mhm.
So,
Live on the air, live on
yeah,
the air, like
live
as
on
it
the
was
air.
happening,
Mhm.
and now like finding that footage is,
Mhm. Yeah, because
um,
I have like I said, a client who's a scientist, and anytime I talk to him about stuff, I'm always like, I want to come to you because you're a scientist. I got to get your knowledge. Because I was telling him about that. I was like, I'm not even like a physics, scientist person, but when it comes to the Twin Towers, you're telling me both those towers were hit at different angles at different like levels, and both collapsed the exact same way within what, an hour of each other?
yeah. And then Building 5, which was not even anywhere
Not
near.
even near, yeah, or impacted.
Yeah,
And
this happened
also
to,
like, yeah, just the pancake, like I
yeah,
don't I don't buy that.
yeah.
Sorry, I don't buy it.
The documentary is called Trouble the Water.
Trouble the
The
water.
one that was done. So the woman who did it, her name was Kimberly Rivers Roberts. Um, and it just says she filmed her experiences before, during, and after Hurricane Katrina with a camcorder. So, you have to keep that in mind, that it's not like a cell phone. It was 2008. It's a camcorder, but it's really, really well done. I think it was at least nominated for an Oscar. I don't know if it won one or not, but it's literally, you're in the home with her while the water is rising. You're seeing bodies go floating by when she finally gets like outside. Like, it's wild.
There was a story that I saw of people that said that they were on the roof, and like their friend fell off into the water and like was immediately attacked and killed by like alligators, and they couldn't, like they just had to watch it happen, and I was like, that's so
Traumatizing.
traumatizing. And like,
Traumatizing.
gators are fucking vicious.
Mhm.
Like death roll. I
Mhm.
couldn't imagine. And also like, not only is that like just scary, but then imagine you have to swim through that, cuz what if there's no food on the roof with you? And
And the bacteria and
mhm.
uh that's just, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. And it's crazy because with all of the cuts to FEMA and, just the cuts to, like, I would not be shocked if we start seeing more and more and more and more of that.
Mhm.
Maybe in St. Louis, that tornado may not have been on the scope of Katrina. But yeah,
I mean, they're saying
um,
that this recent tornado, I don't know if they're saying it was as big as Joplin, but like the devastation has
mhm,
been
mhm,
crazy.
mhm.
And I mean, you just don't hear like tornadoes hitting in the city.
Yeah, that is so wild. That's so wild.
Mm-mm-mm.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm not a religious person. Oh, hi, handsome kitty boy. Hi. He's
That's
just such
Roman.
a pretty kitty.
He is. I
Look at him
could be
sit there all
biased.
proud.
Hmm. He's like, yeah, say more nice things about me.
Yeah. He's a handsome boy.
You are handsome.
um, I don't even know. I got distracted by his beauty and don't even remember what I was saying. Is that Roman or is that Cash?
This is Roman.
This is Roman.
Hmm.
Very handsome boy. Yeah, he loves when we podcast. He loves to hop back there and take a nap when we podcast.
He's so cute. We were
Yeah.
talking about Katrina and
Hmm.
just like and just the
With all
impact
the
of these
cuts
natural
yeah.
disasters.
Yeah. And with all the cuts, I think that I just think, and I believe we've had this conversation with guests that have been on before too, that it is wise to be preparing yourself in case of an emergency. What does that look like for you right now in 2025? What does that look like for you? Um, because even like, well, so to finish that thought, and also building community, because you need community in times like that. But even I think even to say it was a joke is probably like, because it's not anything to be joking about. But I was sharing with you all the troubles that we've been having with the house lately, and I'm like, we didn't have any air for 2 weeks, and there were a couple of days that we didn't have any water, and so we had to go and stay in a hotel. And I'm like, it's just giving third world around here a little bit, which is not funny, but like, what do you do when you don't have access to clean water? Because you can't live without water. Like,
Hmm.
we need water, and we had no access to water. We had to go stay in a hotel. And like, what does that look like if we can't go stay in a hotel? You know what I mean? Where
Hmm.
are we going to get clean water from? How are we going
Hmm.
to eat? Like, we really should be thinking about and preparing for those real life scenarios now, because clearly the government does not give a shit.
Right. Yeah. And I feel like too, we're kind of seeing that with like these electricity bills too.
Hmm.
Everyone's electricity bills have gone up. Um, and it's like, yeah, well, what are they going to do when no one can afford to pay their electric anymore? And
Hmm.
everyone's getting their electric from Ameren.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like, what's going to happen? And I don't know, I could sound like a spoiled brat, but like, if it goes true apocalyptic, like, I don't want to be a part of that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like,
Same.
I like being able to, come home to AC, my pets, have a nice chill
Girl.
on my Wi-Fi. Um and that's a privilege, and I don't want to
Hmm.
come off any type of way, but like, it shouldn't have to get that dark. You know what I mean? Like, that's
It
also
shouldn't
what
have
I,
to, but it's going to.
yeah. And, maybe a good segue into, the ongoing genocide that's happening in Gaza. Like, and we're past now the stage 5 famine. Like, they were saying, survivors, so now, like, their DNA will forever be changed by the lack of nutrition that they are getting.
Yeah.
And it's just so disgusting that we have now watched multiple, right? Because, like, let's be honest, Gaza isn't the only country that is going through a famine or genocide. So is Sudan, the Congo. I believe Yemen is also, so it's just like, at what point do we stop this? Like,
Yeah.
this is crazy. And honestly, I don't know, because I don't have kids. But I don't know how anyone could be a parent and, like, not speak about this. It's very disappointing.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
the silence that has
Yeah.
surrounded. And I felt a little petty the other day. I overheard someone, and I don't like her anyway, so I could just be biased, but she was like, "Oh my god, like, I'm starving. Like, I literally feel like my stomach is, like, eating itself and blah blah blah." And it's like, "No, you're not. Like, you're
You just
not
made her believe
starving." Yeah, like, you're not starving. Also,
Yeah.
like, you still fucking shop at Target and get your fucking Starbucks. Like, shut up.
Mm.
Shut up.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and she's just one of those that's like, but I'm also, white and queer and, like,
Yeah.
equality for all. It's like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very, very much words, but not actions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I am so grateful to not be of childbearing age right now because I cannot imagine bringing a child into this dumpster fire. Like, for what?
Bruh.
For what? And like, if I knew then what I know now, I'm not sure that I would have brought my children who are full grown adults now. But like, this world doesn't deserve that. And it's not built for children to grow and thrive. It's gross. It's
It's
it's gross.
it's so
And
gross.
it's like I understand that the ability to like look away. I've gotten to the point where I don't look away. I force myself to watch because it's a privilege to look away. Um but also I have to function day to day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I have to be kind to people. Like it's literally my job to
Mm-hmm.
be kind to people. And so balancing that, like knowing of what's going on in the world, and also just like I said earlier, like acting like everything is normal is just so heavy. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm with you when you're like, I don't wanna be a part of like whatever comes next. I'm clear on what my role is though. Like I'm very clear on what my role is. I don't expect to make it.
Mm-hmm.
My role is to take as many people with me as I can when the time comes, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But I just don't see how people can just like move about and it's just normal and like you don't feel any kind of way about this. Like I'm trying to figure out how to not pay taxes because I'll be damned.
Okay.
Like I don't mind paying taxes so that children can eat every day. I don't mind paying taxes so that everyone has access to healthcare. I don't mind funding libraries and Head Start and school supplies for kids. Like, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Funding genocide is insane.
Wild work. Wild work.
Insane.
But, got to keep feeding that system.
So I've been doing, everybody's all about where are the Epstein files, drop the Epstein files. So I've been like just lightweight doing research. Not, a lot, but we both love a good conspiracy theory. Did you see that one of Netanyahu's like high-ranking government officials just got arrested in Vegas in relation to, I don't know if it was in Vegas, but it was definitely in Nebraska. I think it was in Vegas. In relation to some child trafficking, or like he was trying to entice a child like from the internet to wherever. So it's someone related to Netanyahu or a government official from Netanyahu was arrested. He was released on like $10,000 bail. And now Israel is acting like we don't know what we're talking about. They're like, yeah, no, that didn't happen, but it definitely did happen. I just think all this like, and then have you ever heard about like child predators, like who are Semites, we'll say, being able to, instead of like if they get convicted, they can go back to Israel. They don't have to stay here and go to prison. They just go to Israel. Like there's a whole like funnel of child predators who like it's a thing for them to be able to go there and like escape accountability. But yeah, so the whole Epstein, Trump, Israel, Mossad, like all of that is connected. So I've been like slowly like doing research and connecting the dots. There's a reporter, a journalist, her name's Whitney Webb, who does like deep dives with publicly available information and can cite sources, but that shit is connected.
Yeah,
all that shit is connected.
Absolutely. And I forget, I think we talked about it on the last episode, but absolutely, I want these Epstein files to come to light and like, yeah, put their names out there. But honestly, like, why are we shocked? Are we going to be shocked by any of the names? And I just said, like, why are we shocked that these grown men are pedophiles, but also, like, they would call themselves men of God? And, because their God impregnated a child to repent for the sins of adults. That didn't happen yet.
And not only impregnated a child, I mean, and I guess that is period, full stop, but also without consent. Not that a child could consent.
Right. She was gaslit. Like, you have to have this baby for the sake of humanity.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. You're right. Yeah. No, it's gross.
It's gross. So gross. And like, I feel like once I really sat with that mindset, I was like, well, yeah, no wonder why all these priests are getting in trouble. Like, look at their God. Look at who they're praising.
Yeah.
I mean, not to call anyone out on their faith, but like, I've always thought that was weird. And I guess like the older that I've gotten, the more I understand it. Like, yeah, as soon as I heard how old Mary was, I was like, no one thinks that's weird. Yeah, like, no one thinks that like it's weird that this mighty being in the whole entire universe, apparently, got a 14-year-old girl pregnant. Yeah, and without her consent. No, like, hey, how are you? Can I take you out? can I meet your parents? Like, can your parents approve of this? Like,
Oh, yeah,
hey, pregnant,
yeah,
peace. And he left. He left. Where'd
yeah,
he go?
yeah. Literally an absent baby daddy on top of it all. Insane. Yeah. So
Insane.
no, if I was of childbearing age, I would not be bringing a child into this dumpster fire. Absolutely not.
Well, and I think too, because I'm 31 and I get asked like, "Oh, do you have kids? Like, do you want any?" And because I have said like, no, I don't want any, but like, if we lived in the perfect world and I had like a perfect partner, sure, maybe.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
I've never like had this desire of like, oh, I want to be pregnant. And I've
Hmm.
always said like, if I did want kids, I would probably adopt because
Hmm.
there are so many kids out there that need help. Like, why would I bring another baby into this world when there's plenty out there? And but then you get into like, oh well, I want one of my own, and it's like, mm, okay.
Yeah.
And for some people, I'm like, why do you think like you're important enough? You should pass on your genes. What makes your
Literally.
genes so important that you
So
should?
good. Literally. Yes. Yes.
And I think people
Mm-mm-mm.
just like, I don't know. Sometimes I don't think people really want kids. Like, I think they want babies because I think people
Mhm.
view babies as like an accessory. But
Yeah.
like, and
And
I've
then,
all
and
well, and I was just
I was
gonna
just gonna
say,
say, go ahead. I'm sorry.
and I've always hated like, oh well, you only have to deal with them till they're 18. No, that is a forever thing. Like, and that's weird to me that just because they turn 18, you think you shouldn't care anymore.
Yeah. Well, yeah. As a parent of, my son will be 32 next week. And my daughter, who just moved out again, will be 29 this year. So yeah, the thinking that you're going to be done at 18, you're just lying to yourself, babes. I'm here to tell you that's not true. But I think
Especially
people
now.
see it as like an extension of themselves, and then and like don't understand that this is a whole autonomous being of its own that's going to have its own thoughts about things, its own experiences in the world. And like it's not a mini you. Like it might have your whole face, but they still have their own thoughts and feelings.
Hmm.
Um, and I just think people don't get that.
Well, and I know that I'm selfish in a lot of ways,
Mhm. Mhm.
and I've always stated like, okay, what if I have a kid and they grow up? What if I don't like who they are? I'm just supposed to love them because I created them?
That's crazy, right?
That's
My
weird.
daughter says all the time how happy she is that her son is funny because she's like, I can't imagine just like fake laughing like the whole time. Like, I'm so
Yeah.
glad like I really just enjoy him as a human and spending time with him because it would really suck if I didn't like him and he wasn't cute and he wasn't funny.
Yeah. Right. Well,
Yeah.
and I also, again, the older I get, the question, like, do you want kids, kind of annoys me because I, I want to know, like, can you raise kids? Do you want to raise kids? Because, again, this
Having them is the
baby,
easy part.
yeah, like, this baby is going to grow up and be a whole ass adult that you have to
Mhm.
be responsible for. And
Yeah.
like, yeah, no
Having them is
matter
the easy
what age, like if your child, killed someone and they were 35 years old, guess what? They're going to be looking at you too. Like,
part. Mhm.
so this whole like, oh, it's just until they're 18. No, it's not.
Mhm.
And
Like, if you
that's
choose to
so
bring a
weird.
human on Earth, you are responsible. I
Yeah.
remember thinking, like, I was 19 when I had my son, or I had him a couple weeks before I turned 19. And I just remember looking at him and being like, promise somebody thought that, like, I was responsible enough to take care of a whole other human being.
Literally.
Like, that's crazy. I
Mhm.
still feel that way. Like, now I have grandkids and I just be looking at them like, this is so crazy. Like, that these two humans would not exist if I wasn't fucking throwing it back in the 90s. These two humans would not exist. And like, promise I've gotten to this stage where I'm somebody's granny, right? And like, I'm, even though I'm not responsible, like they're not my children, I still feel like I am responsible, right? Like, for
Mhm.
making sure that they have the information that they need to be able to not only move about safely, but to be safe people for other people to be around as well,
Mhm.
if that makes sense.
Well, in a way, like, not to sound, I don't know, elite or anything, but like that's your legacy. Your children, your
Mm-hmm. No, it
grandchildren,
is.
like, you know what I
No, it
mean?
is.
Like,
Mhm.
um, yeah, so it's just I clown my mama all the time. I'm like, I can't believe you gave JR a child. Like, this man at the gas station, that's who you were like, yeah. And she'll always be like, "Oh, well, like I love him." And I'm like, "Love don't pay the bills, Kelly. Like, come
Yeah,
on."
yeah, yeah.
Oh.
Children are often an extension of the parents' egos, and their attachment to them stems from and is contingent upon their similarity to the parents. And exactly,
Mhm.
that's what I was trying to say, very messily.
Well, and I
But
was gonna
exactly.
say too, I feel like also um a lot of people have kids so they can prove that they're not like their parents.
Mm,
And I hear all the time, like, well, I'm not gonna fuck up my kids like how my parents did me. And it's like, I'm sure your
yeah, you
parents
are.
also said that.
Yeah,
And
you are.
yeah, you are. Yeah, you
My
are.
favorite thing to tell young parents is all you can do is the best that you can with the information you have at the time. But at the end of the day, your kids are also going to need therapy. So, like,
Hmm.
do your best, and like, they're still going to need therapy.
I
So,
overheard one of my coworkers had a client, and I think she said her kid is mm, I think between 10 to 15 maybe. And I think she might be like going through a divorce or something. I don't know. Um, but she'll kind of check in with her oldest and she'll be like, is this when they have issues? She'll be like, is this something that you're going to talk about in therapy next week, or is this something you're going to talk about in therapy when you're 40?
mm,
Because if it's something you're going to talk about next week, it's no big deal. But if
yeah,
it's something that's going to impact you for the rest of your life, let's address it right now.
yeah,
And I was like, damn, like, okay, it's an interesting way to go. But then also, I think it depends on the child too, right? Like,
yeah, yeah.
it can the child like reciprocate what you're saying? Are they understanding what you're saying when you say stuff like that? Because I
Mm-hmm.
kind of go back and forth with gentle parenting.
Mm-hmm.
And not that I think that you should be like abusing your child.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but sometimes like this, hey honey, like I need you to redirect, your anger and blah blah blah. Sometimes that's not working.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. My
and
kids laugh at me because I'm currently a gentle parent. My daughter probably got spanked like fewer than 5 times, like ever in her life.
Mm-hmm.
My son definitely had more, but you know what I came to realize as a parent is that a lot of the problems that you have with kids come from not being present when they were smaller and developing good habits when they were smaller. And at the end of the day, like you're trying to teach a child how to be like a productive member of society, right? Like we're just trying to help them like so in society, if I'm having a problem, say with somebody at work, I've said, don't touch my stuff when I'm not here. And I come back to work and somebody touched my stuff and now my clippers are broken, even though I said don't touch my stuff. If I put my hands on them, I'm going to jail. So I don't understand why children have fewer rights than adults in that scenario, right? So like kids' brains are not even fully developed. So I feel like, and I get it because I was spanked as a child. Like I'm not convinced that like, do I think I was abused as a child? No, because that was not considered abuse. But also, the spankings that I got as a child probably would be considered abuse today. I just think that there's that as a society that we're teaching children how to be patient, how to give grace, how to problem solve without violence. And putting your hands on your kids is violence. Like, no matter how you look at it,
Mm-hmm.
if you put your hands on them, that is violence. And I get it. Like, I get it. But yeah, my kids laugh at me all the time because they were like, where was all this gentle parenting when we were little?
Sure.
You know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, and I think, yeah, because I was spanked as a child.
Hmm.
I had a great grandma that go pick out a switch, and
Hmm.
you better
I had
not bring me
grandfathers do the
back a
same.
little branch,
Hmm.
because I think one time I brought like, here you go. She's like, oh, you want me to go
Okay.
pick it?
Yes. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I think that I just think that when you're not teaching a child how to problem solve, you're not teaching them. I think that when you do that, when you hit a child, the only thing that you're teaching them is that they should be afraid of you. You're not teaching them like how to solve a problem. You know, the only thing that I spanking taught me was how to be sneakier about the shit that I wanted to do so that I didn't get caught and get my ass beat, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Mm-hmm.
Um so yeah, I'm constantly there's and she's a professor. I want to say Clark Atlanta, but I can't swear to it. But her name is Stacy Patton, and she wrote a book that is not on this bookshelf here, but it's about she doesn't have any children. And
Mm-hmm.
so people constantly are giving her shit because she wrote a book about why spanking children will not heal. I don't remember the name of the book, but it's basically about how spanking children will not heal Black America, basically. And she talks specifically about spanking and ties it into slavery and like the overseers and all of that. But she does a ton of research about how physically hitting a child like changes their brain development, and children that were spanked are more likely to be sexually assaulted, and like it's a whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
um and and so maybe for me, because I now that I know that, I just can't see putting my hands on a child today knowing what I know. But you know, when you don't know, you don't know, you do what was done to you. But like also when you know better, you do better. And I just want children to feel safe with me. Like now, and my grandson, my 8-year-old grandson especially, he is a little spitfire. But I have never had to put my hands on him. But when I speak, he listens. Like when I'm mad or when I'm upset, and I get that tone in my voice, he knows, like, go sit your little ass down somewhere. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. Striking a child let's see this. Striking a child gives them an extrinsic fear of the parent rather than nurturing an intrinsic value for appropriate context. I love how she takes what I'm trying to say and like puts it, but yeah, like we're trying to teach them how to problem solve for themselves without us standing over them, making them do something, right? Like, how can I critically think in this situation
Mhm.
without the fear of being hit?
Mhm.
So, but my daughter says the same thing. She's like, some kids can't be gentle parented and, yada, yada.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
feel that.
Yeah.
I feel what she's saying.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I'm not saying like, yeah, y'all should be like beating the shit out of your kids. I think of
Mhm,
a time like, I'm 8 years older than my sister. And
mhm,
so there was a time when we were riding the bus and she was getting bullied. And I think I wasn't there the one day, or maybe I drove myself to school, but like some girl punched her in the eye. And I was like, I don't like that. So,
mhm,
um, the next time I rode the bus, I was like, I'm not afraid to hit a kid. So, what's up?
mhm.
And I was the one who walked to those other kids' parents and was like, I'm letting you know right now, if
Get your
my
kids or I'll beat your
sister,
ass.
yeah, if
Yeah.
my sister comes home with another bruise and I hear it was one of your kids, we're
Hmm.
gonna have a problem.
Yeah. But I think that's different than spanking your own child. Like that's different. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Not saying that you, not saying we should be beating it.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
but I say all the time, like I will fight a kid. I do say that all the time,
Yeah.
especially about my grandbabies.
Yeah.
Um,
And I guess because again, I don't have kids, so I feel like sometimes when you have children, you do have this kind of blindness of this innocence and this,
mhm,
they can do no wrong because it's a kid, right?
mhm,
Um, and I think too, when you are a good parent, you probably just want to assume that, well, why isn't everyone raising their kid like this? You
mhm,
know?
mhm,
And, but when you have these kids that, child on child sexual assault is like super big. And again, not to say that the parents don't have influence on that, because I'm sure the statistics are high on that.
mhm,
But yeah, like how are you supposed to handle some of these children that are aggressive? Um and I had a friend who used to work in like one of those schools for kids with like that were on the spectrum, and he came home one time with a whole handprint around his neck because a kid that was, 200 pounds picked him up and slammed him down.
and that is when I will put my hands
And
on
so,
somebody.
like, but technically he's a
Yeah,
child,
yeah, 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 yeah,
and
yeah,
we're not supposed to hit or,
yeah,
be aggressive with them.
yeah,
But,
yeah, yeah.
and again, I'm not
So
saying that we should beat the shit out of these kids, but,
yeah, 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 yeah.
but
No,
if
I
a
get what you're
200
saying.
pound 15-year-old is coming at you,
I get what you're saying.
we're just
And
supposed to sit there.
Bramble Roots says we've all met an adult, and that's funny that you say this. We are here, Bramble Roots, because I was thinking in my head like we've all met the person that's never been punched in the face, Donald Trump. Um, so we've all met an adult who has never been struck by anyone ever, and those folks act uniquely off the chain. It's hard to reconcile this fact with the moral imperative of gentle parenting. But and that's what I mean is it's one thing as a parent to not put your hands on your child. It's another thing for a child to go out in the world and understand that like everybody's not your parent and you will get punched in the face out in the world like you know?
Hmm.
So, yeah, like, would I punch my child in the face? I wouldn't punch any child in the face. But if a 200-pound child put their hands on my kid, I might go over and beat their parents' ass. Get your
Mhm.
kid. Get your
Mhm.
kid.
Mhm. Well, and I think of a time I think I had a MySpace when I wasn't supposed to, and I was probably like how old was I? Maybe 15. I don't know. 15, 16, whatever.
Mhm.
Not old enough to have one, so I'll give her that. And my mom, when she found out, was pissed. And I mean, I'm
Mhm.
talking grab me by my shirt, slam me up against the wall. Like my sister was scared because like I didn't bow down. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not that I was grown, but like I'm not a little
Yeah.
kid. You know,
Yeah.
I'm a teenager, so like
Yeah.
we gonna step up, let's step up. And like I don't know, because in my mind, she put her hands on me first.
Mhm.
So like, but she's my mom.
Yeah. That's funny that you say that because I was sure thinking, I'm like, that has got to be like a uniquely white mom experience because there's no fucking way on earth. I remember I like, and
And
I don't know if my
I
mom is
love
on a
my mom, and you know we can look back on
absolutely,
that and whatever,
absolutely, absolutely.
but
I'm just saying
it
that I've
happened.
never, huh?
But it
What'd you
happened.
say?
It happened.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I can't imagine. I was gonna say, I think one time as a teenager, I'm not even sure if I raised my hand to my mom. I don't remember the exact scenario. All I remember is that she felt that I was gonna raise my hand to her, and the next thing I knew, I was under the bathroom sink. Um, but I remember like I've had lots of um white friends specifically, not biracial, white friends, and just listening to the way they spoke to their mom, I'm like, I'm ducking because who are you talking to, girl?
Mhm. Mhm.
Who are you talking to?
Yeah.
Uh, look, Kaj says, I was literally about to say this is a serious white mom story because ain't no way.
And I mean my mom watches the show so she can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think I
Amen,
like
Kaj mom.
yeah, I don't think I raised my fist to my mom, but I definitely
Mhm.
didn't stand down to her or
Yeah.
like you know, I definitely have an attitude, so like I was probably saying a lot of stuff, but
Mhm.
and I'll also say too, I had a stepdad that I'll say was abusive. Wasn't probably wasn't worse like some kids had it, but you know, he was
Mhm.
definitely rough with me growing up, and I think because I had to kind of learn how to fight back like anyone that kind of came at me threateningly, like I was like, okay, like we're doing this.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
mom,
And I mean,
sister
there's something to
included.
be said too about that mom teenage girl dynamic. And when my daughter was a junior in high school, I sent her to go live with her dad because I distinctly remember now, mind you, I'm in my gentle parenting era by now. And I was like, I literally in my head saw myself like dangling her over the banister, like I was gonna kick her ass. So I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm not gonna put my hands on you, but you're going to live with your dad because I cannot.
Mhm. Mhm.
So yeah, that mom teenage daughter dynamic gets a little hairy
Mhm. Mhm.
when the grandparents say when they start smelling themselves.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Mhm. And I mean, I talk to my dad the same way. Like I
yeah.
said, anyone can catch these hands and this
Anyone
mouth.
can get it.
Like if you're gonna come at me, you better come correct, because I will
Mhm.
match the energy.
Mhm. Kaj says, I had a white mom, but I had a black grandma living with us. So those wild stereotypes about white moms and behavioral permissibility were not happening in my house.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
get that too because I had an issue one time with my Black grandma. Um, because me and my biological dad, we have our own issues. And um I wanted my sister to like come up here because they live in the Appalachian Mountains of West Virginia and in a poor coal mining town, and they're not even coal mining anymore. And
Mhm.
so the town is literally run down by drugs. Like there's just nothing going on. And I was like, and
Mhm.
she was probably, because I was 16. So I want to say she was probably like second grade, third grade. Um, and I was like, I want her to come stay out here because I think I can just give her a little better of an opportunity at life. Like, I can
Mhm.
get her into some good schools out here, like just more opportunities. And we had come to an agreement that like she could come out here for a month and we can kind of test it and see how that goes.
Mhm.
Mind you, my grandma, because my sister, like her birth mom, isn't in her life. So my grandma has been like her mom, and she calls
Mhm.
her mom. And so I went down there and I was going to pick her up. And I was like, oh, are you excited? Blah, blah, blah. And then and mind you, she's a kid. She was like, well, I was excited, but not anymore because you guys are going to be working a lot. And I was like, what? And she was like, yeah, grandma or mom said that you're going to be working all the time. And I was like, why would she tell you that? So I went to my grandma and I was like, why did you tell Kiera that like I was going to be working all the time and I wouldn't have uh like time to spend with her? And my grandma got really defensive and she was like, I didn't say that. She's a liar and blah blah blah. And for black grandmas, like the word liar, at least for my grandma, like that's like,
Absolutely. No,
yeah,
that is
that's like a
now
see you
Dana
next
will say
Tuesday.
it. Yes,
Like,
literally.
yeah, it's
One of these
just
days I want to have a conversation about why See You Next Tuesday is so triggering for white women.
yeah.
Um
Yeah.
but but you're right. Like liar is kind of the same in the black community. Like you don't call grown people a liar,
Mhm.
but I yeah, interesting.
Yeah, and I was just like, I'm not calling you a liar. I just find it a little odd that this child who has never once brought up me working and doesn't
Yeah,
even know like really what working is.
yeah.
But also because none of you work. Like you're
Mm,
all on disability, and
mm,
addicts, like, unfortunately, again, that town is rotting. Like, if you
mhm,
want to talk about a fucking cesspool of a town, that
mm.
town. Like, it's insane. And
Wow.
I even told my dad, I was like, you could come out here. Like, I don't know what's keeping you there.
Yeah.
And honestly, with the state of the world and climate change, they are one flood away from that mountain, like, because they're
White
at
Wolf
the
Mountain.
bottom of a mountain. Like,
Mhm.
they're one bad flood from that entire thing just collapsing. And you wouldn't
Wow.
even know that there were people there unless you had people living there.
Yeah. Wow. Wow.
Hmm.
Mm, mm, mm. Insanity.
Literally. Families.
I know, right?
Shout out to my mom for falling in love with JR at the gas station.
Yeah. Shout out to Impad's mom for putting up with us talking about white moms every other episode.
Maybe I can get her as a guest on here and you can ask
That
her
would be
like
fun.
your
That would
your
be
white mom
fun.
questions.
Yeah. Well, I had enough. I feel like I've had enough white girlfriends growing up that like I understand, the white mom dynamic. Um yeah. But that would be fun. That would be fun. It'd be interesting to see like her thoughts on things because she's going to be older than, well, not by much. How old is your mom?
I think she's 54.
Yeah, so not by much. Yeah, we're roughly the same age.
Mm-hmm. Maybe she can listen to this this episode and let me know her thoughts before.
And
She might be like, "Why are you putting?" Because I think there was one time I was talking about like my racist grandpa, and they were like, "Why are you putting that out there?" And I was like, "Am I lying?"
It's reality.
Yeah, it happened. You don't like me talking about you on the internet? Don't act a certain type of way. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, and that's real shit though, because again, talking about even the quote unquote woke white people are going to go to Thanksgiving dinner here in a few weeks and sit around the table with their MAGA loving family and like.
Well, funny, because I speak the truth, so I feel like I'm not talking drama or gossip. But I was talking to my sister. So I have a white sister, and then I also have like a biracial sister. And my white sister is through obviously my white mom. And both my mom and my sister still have a relationship with the grandfather that I cut off. And I told my mom, like, I don't expect her to pick because, like, I can have empathy, right? Like, I know that's her dad. And, like, really, she's known him longer. So, like, I get it and understand, whatever. I don't want, like, that's a whole nother thing. But I found out recently, I guess they were talking about going down and seeing him, and they were like, my sister was like, well, would you even want to come? And I was like, well, no one asked me. And they were like, well, she was like, would you? And I was like, I mean, maybe. I don't know if I would be like all lovey-dovey, but apparently he's been calling mom and crying and saying he wants a relationship, but I haven't heard from him. And I think I asked, like, why are you guys going down there? Like, why can't he come up here? And she was like, oh, well, the last time he came up here, or he came up here last time. And I was like, yeah, like 10 years ago, because he came up here, I think, for like Thanksgiving or something. And she was like, oh, no, he came up here last year. And I was like, oh. And like him, my mom, and my sister all got together. Mind you, this is after he called my mom on my birthday, crying to her, saying how like he wished he could call me and how he wished we had a relationship, blah, blah, blah. You were up here? Also, my phone number hasn't changed since middle school.
Yeah. That's manipulation, that's gaslight. And that's the whole thing. And I think I've shared this story once before, but I had a white woman during the first Trump presidency, and she's sitting in my chair and she's ranting and raving about Donald Trump and what a terrible person he is. And she's right. And she's like, and these white men, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, but who's raising these white men? White women. Like, let's not pretend like white women aren't the ones that are holding white supremacy up on their back. Like, that's why white supremacy still exists, because white women support it, whether purposely or just because they're looking the other way. And like, there's certain things, like, if I have a family member that is a child predator, I don't care that you're my family member. I don't fuck with you. Period. Like, that's it. So like, at the end of the day, like, yeah, that's your dad, but also like your dad is knowingly supporting white supremacy. And so continuing to have a relationship, sorry, but continuing to have a relationship means that you are also supporting white supremacy. In my opinion, maybe I'm wrong. I would love to like dig into that and you know,
We'll see.
if she
We'll see if
watches, you know,
yeah, we'll see
yeah,
if I
she
can
might
get
be
her on
like,
the
"That's
show.
all."
We'll see how she feels after this episode.
She's probably gonna be like, "Nah, hell
Yeah,
no."
yeah.
But
She's
I
gonna be
mean,
like,
I'm curious, what is it that you're telling yourself to make you think that that's not supporting white supremacy? Because to me, that is supporting white supremacy. I get that's your dad, but like, are you having hard conversations when you're with him? Or are y'all just like sitting around eating green bean casserole and like, like, yeah,
because yeah, no way they're talking about it. Or if
yeah.
they are, like, she's not being completely honest with him.
Hmm. Yeah.
As to not, because what I think happened, so his mom passed away, not last year, but the year before, I think. And my mom went to her funeral. I felt like I could have gone, but didn't need to go because when, of course, I cut off my relationship with him, a lot of the family was like, well, she doesn't want a relationship with us. And that's not at all what I said. But
Well, but maybe they knew that if you cut off your relationship with him because of XYZ and they feel the same way, just saying.
for sure, for sure.
I love
Yeah,
that they're trying to get yourself out.
if the boot fits, you know. Um and so yeah, I don't know. It's a weird dynamic
Yeah.
for
And I
sure.
know all families have weird dynamics. I'm not picking on your family
Oh,
specifically. I
no.
just always think like when you're when you are a biracial child that you yeah, you see things from a perspective that like I won't be able to see it because that's not my experience in the world. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And like of course you want to have a relationship with your family because that's your family. So I imagine that's a difficult road to travel, you know?
Mhm. Mhm.
Let's see what Taj is saying. My white family is recently immigrated from Europe, so they are bizarrely liberal, even the elders. I'm so grateful that I don't have racial tension in my family, and I suspect it's because of that. But I mean, Europe is racist too, so you know, maybe
Well,
you just got really lucky.
and if I had to pinpoint, right, because like I'll say I didn't suspect my family being like these die-hard Trump supporters, or like racist, really, because again, like here I am, my mom had a child by a black man, and like I've always felt accepted and loved and like no judgment. But then I look back on those times and like I was a kid, right? Like I wasn't bringing up race in like these conversations. And so, but you know, when I did have a good relationship with my dad, I do remember like my grandpa kind of making snide comments after my dad would like drop me off or pick me up.
Mhm.
And I think I just kind of ignored that because I did know, you know, my dad wasn't the nicest to my mom when they were together. So I could see how, you know, my grandpa had some resentment towards my dad because of how he treated my mom when they were together. But like now looking back, I'm like, oh, well, it's that. And because
Mhm.
he was, well, it's like, did you think he was aggressive because he was a black man? You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And you know, my mom has since told me stories of like comments that he's made that I didn't hear, but I was like, oh, yeah, that's kind of crazy. Um, and memories that she's had, like that she said that when she was a kid, she had a black Cabbage Patch doll, and she went over to my uncle's house, and my grandpa like was making a joke like, oh yeah, like Kelly brought her boyfriend over, and wait till you see him, Jimmy, he's a black kid. And Jimmy was like, well, he's not coming in here. And like, and it was a fucking doll, like. And so yeah, it's just interesting family dynamics.
Yeah. Yeah.
And oh yeah, that was my point. Like, my grandpa didn't care that I was black until I started talking about like police brutality.
Issues
Uh-huh.
yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
yeah, racism, and uh
Yeah.
even like me sharing my own racial experiences, and that just kind of being dismissed,
Yeah.
because I don't think they viewed my blackness. They were just like, well, you might be black, but like you're our family.
Yeah. You're not like those other black
Exactly.
people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Wild.
Yeah. Fun times. Fun times. And
Yeah.
that's always so funny too, because, I feel like a lot of black stereotypes are revolved with like urban city, like gangster lifestyles. And that was always funny to me when I went to a predominantly white school out in Lincoln County. They all thought I was from the hood, that I
I
had been in
remember
like,
you saying
yeah,
they thought you
yeah.
were like,
Yes. And I was like, I literally couldn't be more fucking country, my guy.
Mhm.
Like, I'm from
Mhm.
fucking West Virginia. My black family lives in the Appalachian Mountains.
Yeah.
Like, and my white family grew up in the other mountains. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I could be an original
Yeah.
for real, for real.
Yeah.
Like,
And like it's perfectly fine to just like accept people, meet people where they are and get to know them and like
yeah.
imagine.
Imagine. I will say my favorite thing to say to a lot of my white clients. Again, this is why I was like, I don't know why they come back and see me, because they'll be like, "Oh, how you been? Like, what's new?" And I like to say, just trying to live that dream that MLK had for me.
I love that.
And they're
I
always
love
like,
that.
"How's that going?" I think we've had better days,
Well,
guys.
I think we've had better days.
I don't know.
Oh,
The
good
FBI
Lord.
killed them.
Yeah. And that's been proven in court.
Right.
So
So
crazy times, man.
crazy times. I hate it.
And just like that, we've literally talked over an hour again, I think. What is
Yes.
our timing? They moved the timing on us.
Chatty
Then-
Cathy's.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even know. It doesn't say, but I know it's been over an hour because I feel like
Yeah, we're
we
an
came back
hour and
up.
18.
Okay, yeah. So there it is. I'm like, what? Where they moved it? Yeah, crazy. We are some chatty Cathy's. But yeah, I'm ready to go eat some food. I really love the flow this time. I feel like we touched on a lot of different things.
We did.
It was good stuff.
Yeah.
Hopefully your mom won't be too offended. Maybe she'll come chat with us.
Well, you know what? Like I say to her, I've been to therapy. So, I
Mhm.
don't know.
Yeah.
When you want to talk about it, let's talk about it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, it's been fun. Thanks for being here.
Yes.
You have always shown all the insight in the comments. Thank you for that. She wanted to clarify that Europeans are definitely racist, but I think they have a certain level of empathy from being ostracized as immigrants in the US. That makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
think
friends.
Taj just comes from a cool family. You definitely got
I
lucky.
mean, not just like,
Yeah.
she just got lucky.
Yeah, you got
Be
real
like
lucky,
that
girl.
sometimes. All right, friends. Till next time.
Till next time.